Once again, I welcome you to your English class in the prose lesson, which we have completed a little bit part of that background of the author as well as of the prose lesson, spoken English and broken English. If you remember, I said you that it is written by George Bernard Shaw, and he actually mentioned that how spoken English, if it is broken also, will not affect the other person, and how we become so careful in speaking English that we wanted ourselves to speak English in such a way how the native speakers are speaking. We don't realize that it is a foreign language, and there is nothing bad in speaking a language with some difficulty or some different accents. So he has said that no two British people also can speak same type of English, or same accent could be there. They may pronounce the words in a different manner. So what he said here is that being belonging to the native speakers, line of native speakers, like you can say the British, those who belong to England, UK, what you call it as, those England, UK, London, all comes under your British. Those, they believe that English is originally their language, and that's true. So those who are really from the origin of English, they also cannot speak in proper pronunciation. They can speak English, they definitely speak better English, but they cannot pronounce in the same manner. With that, we compare the Americans, Australians and all, that those people, those who continuously speak English, they too never have the same type of the pronunciation. So why should we bother about the accent of ourselves? The pronunciation, the language, the grammatical rules, whatever it is there. But if we are using a broken English also, we can go ahead into that. And then this is actually a speech of George Bernard Shaw, which he has given on gramophone. I said you that if you want to see what is gramophone, you can check it out on Google. Previously people used to listen like a radio type thing on that. So it was on the gramophone. His speech was telecasted to overall people of that particular place. And when because he was actually one of the very good public speaker, very good oration skills he has, so that's why he has been given chance to speak to the public. And he has said that whatever the differences, and he has given very you can say simplest examples how he has tried to find out the different pronunciations and what will happen if we don't pronounce properly. Nothing will happen. Okay, so let us continue the explanation. Now, he was the member of BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, and to decide the utterances, how the people are speaking, how the people are pronouncing the words, that he has to check it out. And he was the member of that one committee. They have framed one committee to employ the people in in BBC. So for that they have to give them the proper utterances and proper pronunciations, and these members of the committee have to check it out whether the persons, those who are coming to become a part of BBC, are they pronouncing properly or not. Here is that model of correct English. They wanted to check it out, the model of the correct English, and the chairman was poet laureate, the royal type poet who was being declared as the most famous, or you can say the best poet among them. That was poet laureate, and he was responsible to select he was the chairman, and he was responsible for selecting the people, or you can say the overall members as well as the chairman. But he actually speaks very correct English, and he himself is a model of correct English. Then next is, he was a specialist in pronunciation. He always get you can say specialization in pronunciation, means he can check it out the pronunciation of overall people, how they are speaking, and he can make them correct it out. And he had some scale of measuring the pronunciation, and according to that he select the people. The next is Sir Johnson Forbes Robertson. Sir Johnson Forbes Robertson was a well-known actor at those times, and he was known for his beauty of speech. That means the way he speak the language, the way he convey his messages to the people was awesome. So people wanted to listen to him more, so they have decided that person also to be included into their committee, and he was also the member of this committee. This was the chairman. He himself, George Bernard Shaw, was also a member, and this person was also a member. Why they have taken George Bernard Shaw? Because you may say that he was only a public speaker and he write down the dramas and all, but he has one more thing, that whenever he write down the plays, whenever he write down the dramas, he wanted the actors to perform in front of him, so he can get an idea that how the dialogues written by him are pronounced or uttered by the actor. He trained the actors to speak the dialogue in a proper way. You must have seen many movies till now. So in those movies you must have heard that every dialogue could not be uttered or could not be spoken at a same wavelength, like with a normal tone, with high pitch, with low tone. Every dialogue has certain criteria to be spoken, and that criteria to be decided by the director. Now that those times, the director or the playwriter, the person who writes the story, has to see that, because he himself is the writer of the dialogue, no? So he has to check it out whether the dialogue was being uttered properly by the actor or not. So he trained the actors during the plays. So that was his duty. So the people have thought that he also one of the person who can able to recognize the pronunciation, the speech pattern, and the accent of the people, or you can say the ones, those who are going to employ into BBC. So that means those who want to get a job into British Broadcasting Corporation, that is BBC, they have to undergo one interview, and in that interview, who will take those? The chairman, this Sir Johnson Forbes Robertson, and then George Bernard Shaw, and many other people were there, those who conduct the interview. And in that they check it out, the accent, the pronunciation, the speech pattern of the person, and then select the person. Okay, so now that was their criteria to select it out and all. But now we have to find out the inner conflict among those people. Now what he is saying is that all the interviewers, you can say all the three people or the whole members, they belong to various places, so they never get agreed on commonest words. Which are the commonest words? Yes or no. Even they don't get they don't reach to a certain conclusion whether who is pronouncing yes properly and who is pronouncing no properly, because everybody has a belief that I am pronouncing properly, the other one is not good. Somebody would say yes, somebody would say yes, somebody would say yes. Like there are variety of the pronunciations. For yes or no only, just forget about the whole sentences or the different or difficult words. It's only the simplest and the common words, yes or no. No one agree on the pronunciation. That means the overall members, they themselves unable to decide which is the correct pronunciation, because they belong to different places. One is from Irish, the author is from Ireland, so he has an Irish accent or Irish way of speaking. One from the Scotland, Scottish, different pronunciation. Welsh, that is from UK. So from UK also they have variety of the you can say pronunciation. Then Oxford, American, all the members are from the different places. And when the different places members come together, then they realize that they could not speak the same speech or the same pronunciation. They have variety of the pronunciations. Different accents were there. Or for what words they were getting only the problem? Not for the difficult words. They are not getting agree with these two words, that is yes or no. And now the author has said that, it's very nicely he has given that one. So that shows that here we cannot judge it out the person by saying that your accent is wrong. Everybody has their own accent. If you find out in India itself, Indians in the North India to mid of the India or to South India, there are different pronunciations even in English. And forget about English, that is a foreign language. If you talk about Hindi also, Urdu also, Telugu also, I said you, regional languages are different. Telugu, Marathi, Kannada and all are Malayalam, all these are the regional languages. Common language which is known as our national language, that is Hindi. Can you believe that from the north, extreme north to extreme south, do we speak same Hindi? No. The varieties are there. There are various, you can say, accents of speaking Hindi only. That is your own language, own national language, but still we don't speak it properly. As in the previous class, I have given you the example of Urdu. How do we speak? How do the north people speak? Urdu Hindi mix, and how do the Telugu being spoken at Andhra side and at the Telangana side. Means that shows that there are varieties of the accents. So we cannot say that okay, you are wrong, you are right. No, because everybody has their own accent, everybody has their own way. So we cannot judge it out. The same thing he wanted to say, that we cannot judge them out. The next thing is that, in other words, he is actually boosting our confidence that whatever the way you are speaking, you are trying to speak English, that is enough. The next he said about the public speaking. Public speaking is different from the personal. Like how do you speak in front of the public, that is different when how do you speak with your friends, with your family members, or with in your personal life. That is a different, that is a professional life and personal life. He is saying that now I am speaking on gramophone, like because it was the direct speech given by him. So that was the live telecast. So he was saying that now on gramophone I am speaking to hundreds of people. I have to be audible. That means the people can listen to me, the people can understand me. For that purpose I have to speak syllable by syllable. That means my speech should be very clear. My speech should become so clear that the people, those who are listening to me without looking at me, also can get and also can understand the meaning of that each and every word. That is the same thing we can employ it here in our classes. When any of the lecturer would ask you any of the question, the answer what you give should be very clear, should be audible. Otherwise, if you are saying something without we are unable to understand, then we can say that what's your mumbling, why you are not speaking properly. That means something whispering out without clear understanding, without clear sound. But at home, how do you speak? Check it out. When you speak at home, that is a different. You will give only the monosyllabic answers. If suppose mother is asking you, would you like to drink the tea? Can she ask in such a framing of a sentence? No. Tea? You would say yes or no. Or you would ask tea, they would say yes or no. And that too, it not supposed to be very clearly while going, only while walking to the kitchen side or while walking to the drawing room side, you will ask and the answer will be given to you. You can listen the answer, you can guess the answer. But can we do the same thing when we are in the class? Is it possible to give that type of answer in a monosyllabic? You have to give the answer in such a clear way that the other person could understand, because this is not the personal level. So we have to maintain the public speaking and the personal speaking. That is the only thing he said, that what you are speaking is the matter should be different, but the way you speak, the sounds, the tones, all affects the understanding as well as the listening power of the people. So when you are speaking for a public, you should speak very clearly, very like audible, without mumbling, whispering. You would have to give a clear accent of yourself, what your words could be, so the other person can understand you, and it should be reachable to all the people. And next he said is that very nicely, that was one of the humorous paragraph. If you want, you can check it out. Definitely you have to read and check it out. He said that manners are different at company or at a place where we work and at home. or the place where you study and at home, the manners are different, and according to our manners we speak in the same way. For example, like just he has given one like situation. If you are going to somebody's house, just stand a few moments outside the house. It is not supposed to be done, because it's just a type of example, or you can say to explain you, he has given this. It should not be imitated at home. So if you have gone to somebody's house, just wait for a few moments outside and try to listen how they speak at home. The mannerism of speaking at home is totally different when nobody is there. Means among the family members we speak in a different tone, different way. We laugh loudly, we shout loudly, we like give the answers and the questions in a very different tone, different manner. Everything would be very easy, comfortable. As soon as just somebody enters into our home, a guest or someone is stranger, our mannerism get changed. So he said that just listen for a few moments outside how they speak, then get a chance, then enter into their home. After knocking the door, you find that the way how they were speaking before, and as soon as you enter, the way of their speaking could be changed. It's obvious, it's very obvious. You can check it out. Normally it happens if we are like at home, if you are talking aloud, if you are shouting, if you are just quarreling with your siblings and all, something, suddenly the bell rings. Everybody keep quiet. Now you get a plastered smile on your face and you are ready to welcome the guest. What does it show? That we don't want to reveal our, you can say, the different face in front of the strangers, because we have a different criteria to be maintained at home and different criteria in front of the strangers. He said the same thing. When you are alone, you speak in a different mannerism, different tone, different sound, but when you speak in front of the others, that should be different, and this can be maintained for public speaking as well. When you are speaking, when you are giving any speech in front of the like you must have given many speeches in your schools, and many a times from Children's Day to Independence Day to Republic Day to Sports Day, Annual Day, many celebrations were being done, and in those times you must have gone on the dais and you have given the speeches. So while you give the speech, first you have to take a long deep breath, then get ready and start speaking, and at that time you try your level best to deliver the speech as fast as possible and without any mistakes. And 90% times I have seen the students memorizing the speech. They memorize the speech, they come on the stage and they just try to deliver the speech and they just want to walk away. But do you do the same thing at home when you have to say something to your parents or something to your siblings? Do you prepare any speech? No. But without preparing also you deliver a very good speech. You speak that too in a very powerful words you can use, and without taking any breath you can speak for 10 minutes, and then you will remember everything what you have to remind to your brother or sister, that whatever you have done to them, whatever they are doing to you, that you have everything frame up in your mind. Even though you haven't tried, you didn't write down anywhere, you have in your memory and you just produce it out without having any tension. So that shows that because we don't have any fear over home, and maybe we speak in our family, in front of our family members in a very comfortable manner, or you can say we don't have any type of the hesitation, and so that's why we speak in a different manner without preparation, whereas here we need to prepare. So these things he has mentioned it out. Just while you read the lesson you will get confused into that. That's why I have divided into the ways what he wanted to say. First he said about here how the BBC people were recruiting the members or were offering the job to the members, and while taking their interviews they were checking their accents and their pronunciations, and for that they have made the members. One is the chairman, who is the poet laureate, who is the model of the correct English, and this one our George Bernard Shaw. He was, because he was the director, or you can say the writer of the plays, he has been given the opportunity to check it out the pronunciation of the people. And the one actor, that is Sir Johnson Forbes Robertson, he has been given the duty to check it out the pronunciation of the people. And not only these, many other members were also there, but every member has certain other criteria to check it out, and everybody was good at their own public speaking. And while they were trying to check it out, they found that two people can get agreed on the simplest pronunciation of yes or no. So how can they get agreed for the other pronunciations? In these, overall, author wanted to show that whatever your pronunciation, don't try to copy the accent of the others. Whatever the way you speak, pronunciation should be proper, but the way you speak could be different. So don't try to imitate native speakers, because they themselves never speak in a same manner. So I hope till here you have understood the whole points, whatever I have written as the key points. Definitely after that, after the seeing the class, you please go ahead and read out the passage. 2-3 paras are there that will comprise of one passage. So just read it out, these paragraphs, and in the next class we'll try to complete the explanation of this particular lesson, spoken English and broken English. By the time, take care, have a nice day.